Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the music production order. All right, guys, welcome to this exciting video. All right, guys, so basically in this video, we're going to be exporting our songs, and believe me when I tell you that there are actually some buttons you can press while exporting your song that can actually drastically change the sound of your songs and how it feels. Okay, all right, guys, so basically to export our songs, you have to go to the file. Okay, file up here, and you have the export down here, and you can see we have wave file, mp3, ogg, and FLAC, and the MIDI file. And you can see that they also have a shortcut which you can press the Control R for the wave, Shift Control R for mp3. And okay, let's just go ahead and select the wave. And first of all, you have to actually name the file and select where is actually going to the output, the folder is going to be. Let's just name this test for the sake of tutorial purposes. All right, and first of all, as you can see, this is exactly where all the magic happens, guys. This is exactly where it happens. So first of all, you've noticed that you have all these arrows at the corners, which you can use to collapse and expand each column that we have going on right here. And then at the top, you can see we have rendering to test wave, which is exactly the name of the file, the name of the file. Okay, that's what we have going on right here. And then you have the project type, where you have the mode, which you can select from full song and pattern. Okay, believe me when I tell you that in all my years of music production, I have never selected pattern, and I've never actually thought of selecting pattern ever. Okay, so in case you want to in case you want to render out the pattern, okay, you can go ahead and select that. But in 99% of us, most of us, we just want to select the full song. So go ahead and select the full song. And then over at the tail, you have three options. As you can see, we have the cut remainder, we have the leave remainder, and we have the wrap remainder. Okay, so each of these actually does something different. Okay, now cut remainder, what cut remainder does that exactly where the pattern stops, okay, exactly where the last pattern ends, okay, that is exactly where the music stops. And then you have leave remainder. Now what leave remainder does that, sometimes when you are like, maybe you have a reverb or something, even when you have stopped playing the note, or when the note stops playing, you still have that tail, that reverb tail, or whatever it is. It might not be reverb, it might not be from the sound itself, okay, might be a delay, all those kind of things that come after when the note has stopped. Okay, so leave remainder leaves all those things to decay down to zero, then it ends the song and everything. Then you have wrap remainder. Now what wrap remainder does, that those extra reverb and everything, it takes those parts and brings them to the beginning to kind of make this perfect loop kind of thing, where everything loops in a way that you won't be able to know that it's looping. All right, then that is that. And then we have some information right here where you can see the length, you can see the total time of the song. Okay, you can also see approximate size to take. Most of the time it's always close to this, okay, but sometimes it's not exactly this, but it's close to this. Then over down here, this is where you actually select and affect the file itself. Okay, as you can see, we have the wave, mp3, org, and all those options that we had up here, we also have them down here, as you can see. And one good thing about this is that you can actually render different file types at once. Instead of rendering one and rendering another one again, you can render a wave, mp3, FLAC, and everything. You can just render them at once right here, and they render out at the same time. First things first, it's actually very nice for you to actually get informations on exactly what you need in especially where you're exporting to. Okay, there's going to be a link in the description where there's a link to a site where it explains everything in details. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave a link and a link to that site in the description so you guys can go and check it out. So it just helps you know where exactly your song is going to and what format is best for that site. And you also have the stereo here, where you can actually set it to stereo, set it to mono merge, set it to mono left only, mono right only. And you notice that if you set it to mono, okay, it will totally not sound as a stereo, which might sound very, very different, okay, in some cases. All right, so this is one of the options that can actually drastically change your audio. Okay, in case you have stereo, in case you have mono turned on, it will definitely have a whole lot of effect on your audio. Okay, and you can also select mp3, and once you select mp3, you notice that some of this option, this mp3 bitrate, now comes on, and also all these other options too are for all these other file types. Okay, as you can see, once we turn them off, they gray out, but once we turn them on, they come on. And all these are just the same thing All this just affect the quality of the sound. Okay, it's the same thing but just with different languages. Okay, you have the bit depth for here, you have the bit rate for MP3, you have the bit rate for OGG, but all these are just the quality of the file, the quality of the sound. Okay, and over down here you also have quality bar right here. It's just best to just take it to the highest. Okay, but one thing you should know about taking it to the highest is that it will affect, definitely it will slow down, it will take more time when it's rendering at the highest speed. And the truth is that anything 64 and above, you might actually not really hear the difference. Like the difference is like you won't even notice it. Okay, you won't even notice it. Okay, it's just very unnoticeable. All right, so if in case you can just maybe leave it at 64, or you can go to the highest and just take it up from there. And over down here, we have the miscellaneous section. All right, and first of all, as you can see, we have 8 options. Now, the two most important options I would say right here are the enable insert effects and enable master effects. These two must be turned on unless you intentionally want to leave them off for a reason. Okay, they should be turned on, because if you leave them off, all your effects that you applied in the mixer for the insert effects, if you turn this off, all your effects will turn off. This is another option that can drastically affect your audio also. And also enable master effect, this also should be turned on in case you have any effects on the master bus, especially when you're mastering and you do your major effects on the master. If you turn this off, all your effects would not even have an effect at all. All right, it should just be off. Then you also have this Plex mystery track, which is also very important when you want to export each individual insert as its own stem. When you want to export into various stems, this is the way to go. You split mixer tracks and it exports everything as its own individual track. And over down here, we also have a cool feature where you can export directly to SoundCloud. Okay, from here, you can just directly export your song to SoundCloud, which is actually a nice feature for you to have right here. And then you have this bar at the bottom where you can see the progress. And then also you have this option to show files when complete. So if I turn this off, if I turn this on, sorry, once it's done, it opens that, it opens the folder it is, and you see the file where you see the file, you see the audio, whatever. And then when you want to start, you have these two options. You have the background rendering and you have the start. All right, so these two, they do different things actually. They do the same thing but in different ways. Okay, start just starts automatically and you can't actually do anything after that. But what background rendering does is that it's kind of renders everything in the background. So if I click on background rendering now, it actually minimizes FL Studio. FL Studio just minimizes and it does the rendering in the background, so you can go ahead and do other things with your PC. All right, so it kind of uses less RAM, or like call it less CPU power with background rendering, which means it will take more time. Okay, but it's also a nice feature for you to know about, and it can come in handy in different situations. In case you're new to FL Studio and you want to learn about music production, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Majorly, make sure you subscribe to this channel. All right, and if you like this video, please do hit the like button. After you've done that, get out of here.